you will probably lose the game.
Well, they have plenty of time to think about it because they do go up against SK Telecom next Monday, so definitely going to have to be doing some very in-depth preparation for that game. But we are into the picks and bans for our second match of the night. Aurelia and Shen going to be the first two bans, so some top lane focus coming in. Shen, of course, Longzhu just not able to first pick it. Don't want that in the hands of ADD, so they take it off the board. It's going to be Sivir yet again.
Yeah, this
by
is
MVP.
banned by MVP. And I think what's so interesting about the story that this pick and ban phase tells us from their previous matches, we see Longzhu take out the Trundle and Sivir, two champions that MVP had in both of their games. MVP takes the Vladimir, the champion that Longzhu had in both of their games, and they've won all the games so far. So right now for Longzhu, it's not a good look when it comes to actually stopping MVP's strategy, because they tried to force them onto something new, and that something new proved every bit as effective, in fact, arguably more effective than either of their games in their past best of three. So I'd be a little bit worried here. For the Nidalee perspective, they did ban the Varus and the Trundle. MVP may first pick Vladimir here, because
I think that's what they're looking for.
Maybe you're worried about the Cassiopeia? Okay, so they take the Anivia they force the first pick Vladimir by banning the Anivia.
Okay, so that means they have something else in mind. Maybe just go back to the Cassiopeia, which was doing a good job early on in that matchup.
Coco did do more damage to champions than anyone else in that game. Yeah. I don't think Coco's individual performance was the issue. I think I wouldn't take the Cassiopeia yet. I would grab a priority jungler, depending on what you want. You could try and take away the Rek'Sai this game, and then maybe you take that Ashe, because the Ashe was a problem in the last game for sure.
Yeah, which, of course, with the Vladimir on the side of MVP, that just means that Pure has to go for this Karma yet again, so they will take the Ashe for themselves. We'll see how Fury is going to run with this one, whether or not he can have as strong of a performance as Maha, because he did do a lot of silly things with the Ezreal, so putting him on a much more precarious AD carry has me somewhat concerned for his future.
We'll see. Maha has played overwhelmingly Ashe and Sivir this season. They account for 13 of the picks at the AD carry role for MVP. So I think this strategy is interesting from Longzhu. They're definitely attempting to make Maha, to take him and put him out of his element. And because they're not going to have the same engage that they had in the last game, okay, I mean, they can go for Jhin. He's played one Jhin game.
Played against Africa.
Yeah.
And they will lock it, and it's going to be Trundle for ADD. So this was banned away by Longzhu in game one. They will be able to pick it up for themselves.
To be fair, we don't necessarily know that it's not for Max, even though
that is true.
Max has not played support Trundle this season, but could be. They can always flex it there depending on what Longzhu tries to do. Now, in the previous series, Longzhu attempted to counter the Trundle in two different ways. They had the Gnar and the Rumble, both of which have been successful Trundle counter picks previously, but Longzhu couldn't make it work. Couldn't make it work in those games. ADD still did a lot of split pushing on that Trundle, so they may go back to it, however.
Longzhu, they're hovering the Gnar. This was their answer to the Trundle from MVP in game one last week, and they still didn't find a victory there.
Maybe Expression has learned a few things. Obviously, he's had time to review, and they should be ready for this again. They were assuming the Trundle would be a priority pick for MVP in this match with the ban on the blue side in game number one. They don't have that luxury in the second game, so they tried to force the Vladimir pick as well as take away some of the initiation tools so that they could kite the Vlad better than they could last time. But I think you just take the Bard again. I think you take Gragas Bard. Why the hell not? You set up with a Bard ultimate. Beyond shows up with the cask after the Bard ultimate ends. You knock somebody in your team and you kill him.
I mean, Max had a really good game with the Bard. The magical journeys were set up really well. The cosmic bindings were landing. Most crucially, the one on the Chaser in the river where he caught him even with the flash, and that netted the first kill for MVP. And they're going to lock that and Gragas. So Beyond getting another very strong pick for him.
And Gragas hasn't been his most played champion, but it has arguably been Beyond's best champion. When we see him go off, it's really been impressive to see his Gragas play. He's won 2 out of his 3 games with it. But his early game pressure has been a pleasure to watch, and he chains it very well into nice engages in the late game. Now, are they going to take the Kassadin here?
This would be interesting. We saw Mickey play this yesterday in Game 1 against KT Rolster. Had a crushing performance on it, really, but just weren't able to close out that first match.
Yeah, trying to take the early trades, too, basically with the Null Sphere so that you get the Magic Shield and can avoid the damage from the Q. So it's sort of a neutral lane, which, of course, on Kassadin is considered a plus because you're trying to get him into that late-game terror status. And, yeah, Mickey's the only guy who's played Kassadin this season, which is intriguing, and now we're going to see Longzhu attempt it as well. Worth noting that historically, Coco is a long-time Kassadin ace player, so this is not outside of his comfort zone at all. I've seen him actually deliver over 20 kills in a professional game on Kassadin previously. Back from his time on Zenix Storm, we used to call it the Coco Din because he was so feared on that particular champion. So return to it now, and he should be feeling just fine on this one. Longzhu making it so they actually have more engage in this draft. You can always use that Asher. You've got the Karma Speed this time, plus you have the Rift Walk Force Pulse, so you can get a slow down and then follow it up maybe with a Gnar ultimate from Expression. So this time they're going to have more opportunities to fight back.
Yeah.
Than they did.
A lot more engaged.
Yeah, a lot more engaged this time.
Well, I already have my tally ready to go. Let's see how many arrows Fury can hit or miss.
It's the arrow tally night, I see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's going to determine the real winner here. It doesn't matter which team wins the match. It's all about which AD carry hits the most amount
has
of
the
arrows.
Skill shot accuracy.
Yeah, that's.
I think Maha has an unfair advantage because his team has better vision control.
That is a good point. So Fury's gonna have to light a fire under the asses of Longzhu.
There you go.
And tell him, all right, guys, I need pink wards. Whether or not they're gonna respond to that, we'll have to wait and see. But Maha bringing out the Jhin for the second time. Had a really strong performance on Ashe. We'll see if he's able to replicate that over onto this newer AD carry. So let's go ahead, get right into Game 2. MVP looking to close out with a 2-0. And what did I do to deserve this? It's another Cloud Drake start. It's all right. I'll trade the Cloud Drakes for a lack of pauses.
All right. I agree with you, Achilles. That's a worthy trade to make.
It's worth the sacrifice.
So Jhin, it is, when we look at the Jhin play from Maha, he has played it that one game. It was their one win in the series against Africa. And it was part of a very different style of composition, though. It was more of a poke comp with Nidalee and Varus, not so much this more all-in composition where they really do want to send this Vladimir deep into the enemy backline, have a strong engage with Beyond. And what this means is that he's going to have a lot less protection. He's not going to have the Gnar there to help him out. He's going to have to make sure that his positioning is strong to avoid being dove on himself by a Gnar and a Kassadin. So we'll see how he holds up in a composition that is less expected to poke and more expected to just have the front line go all in, and he will be left, for the most part, all by himself. Okay. Well, he is running Deathfire Touch, which has been more rare these days. We've seen a little bit more Thunderlord's usage here in Korea. I know Deathfire Touch still more popular in the West, but Thunderlords does give you a little bit more presence in the laning phase, but is worse in the long run.
They're going to go for a double invade here with Fury and Pure. ADD going to get exhausted out, but Beyond's there to try to fire back. Has the red buff now. Here comes Ian crashing down. Fury has to just flash the wall. They go into the flash body slam onto Pure. He is going to fall. First blood going over to Ian. Longzhu with a very bizarre invade, and they are just going to really pay for that.
I don't know why you would do that, Achilles, when Kassadin is your mid laner. And I guess it's just time for rejuvenation beads.
That build from ADD. This feels like a season 3 thing that he's got going on here. Max will invade onto Chaser. He's gonna flash in for the pop-up. Max flashes away. Flash forward by Expression. They should be able to close this one out. Oh, actually, no. Maha arrives with a heal, and Max gets out alive. So that's both flashes down from the top and jungle of Longzhu just for the support of MVP, and he gets out alive.
Yeah.
MVP are...
I mean, this is the early game they needed, I guess. That invade really going south. So they tried Longzhu tried something tricky by coming through the river north of the Dragon Pit to try and actually stop the jungle. But considering the red buff had already been done, and if we look at their duo lane, yes, they have the Karma and the Ashe, so they do have some amount of speed and slows in the early game, but I mean, beyond is a Gragas with red buff and a flash, and Ian was able just to waltz straight down there to turn it into a 3v2, because what is Kassadin going to do to you at level 1?
Here's a Null Sphere.
Yeah, it's like... Okay.
I have a Spell Shield now.
Meanwhile, Ian has 2 movement abilities. Beyond is going to get that, but Chaser may kill him.
Yeah,
and
Chaser does get the kill, so just waiting in that brush for Beyond to roam over. That's going to net him a double buff, so he does make up for a bit of lost time. So a good pickup. Still going to be MVP with a lead and a faster tempo onto this tower up top. But at least a good turnaround from Chaser.
Yeah, interesting build, of course, from ADT, going for the rejuvenation beads. But if you actually think about it, it does somewhat make sense. I don't know if this is the most optimal build, but what's going through his mind right now is that I've got the King's Tribute. I've got this Trundle passive that's going to give me HP when the minions die around me. I'm magnifying my base regen with these items. And not only that, but when I get into lane against the Gnar, is going to have a range advantage on me. So that he's going to be harassing me in mini Gnar form with the auto attack. It's going to suck because I'm Trundle.
Yeah.
At least I have I have now items to regenerate my HP and my passive to deal with this scenario, and that's what's going to happen because we are seeing both dual lanes head into the bottom side right now. So Longzhu taking the 1v1 and the 2v2 after the switch around here. So we'll be ADD in the short lane and Maha and Max in the long lane, vice versa for Longzhu.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because if you think of the other starting items that we see from Trundles, the Corrupting Potion being one of them, and then the Doran Shield. So this will give him more health regen than the Doran Shield, and the Corrupting Potion, of course, did get nerfed a little while ago, so it has less health regain on it. So just...
Also, he only got an assist, so he wasn't going to have enough money for a Doran Shield.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, I mean a Doran Shield start as opposed to going for something like this. So does just switch it up a little bit. ADD innovating in the top lane.
It is interesting, though. I will give it that. So.
Let's see how well that's going to work out. Maha going for a very early call. Going to be going up against the double long sword that Fury has for himself. Of course, he's just looking for that Caulfield's Warhammer so he can get an Essence Reaver by the look of it. So won't be rushing something like the Hurricane.
Yeah,
at least not until after he gets the Warhammer.
Yeah, he's probably just going to go for Essence Reaver in this game. It's kind of awkward to go for Caulfield's Warhammer and then go straight into Hurricane because you just don't have a whole lot of AD that way. It's preferable if you can go BF Sword, but not going to be the case, as awkward back timings will prevent that from happening. Will be the Rod of Aegis first for Koko's Cassidy. He's holding up pretty well in spite of having that first blood disadvantage, but again, that's this matchup. Both of these champions in the mid lane do take some time to scale. ADD,
look at that though,
doing a lot of harassment on Expression.
Yep,
that's just really annoying. I mean, every rejuvenation bead gives him plus 50% base health regeneration. It's a substantial amount in this early game, and I like that we're seeing this change because ADD, obviously no stranger to this matchup versus Expression, considering it happened last Monday. And we're seeing him do something fun.
Yeah, I mean, you can only expect that they were really ready for this Gnar pick to come out.
I think,
the other thing that they played, because they played Trundle in both of those matches, so they started with Gnar, and then Expression ended with Rumble, which wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So I feel like MVP really knew that the Gnar was going to be the only answer that Expression was able to bring out. So with this adaptation's working out, you can see one of those Reju beads is going to go as he turns it into a Tiamat.
Question is what is he going to do with the rest of it? Probably just sell them.
I would think so. So just looking for that early regen power, and then we'll just inevitably get rid of those. Pillar's going to come down, but not going to cancel that tunnel out from Chaser, so can't get a pick onto him.
Oh, this has been interesting. It's been fun to see this.
Yeah.
We've seen many different iterations of this Trundle matchup right now, and his people have gotten better at countering it with picks like Gnar, picks like Rumble. There's been a little bit of innovation to make sure that he can get over the hump in the early game, and he's not really suffering when it comes to CS because he's been able to walk up and just take the hits to the face from Expression so well. So he attempted a blue buff takeaway here. Beyond is there.
Yeah, they see him with the Tremor sense. He's going to go in, Expression already takes a good bit of damage. Hemoplug comes down, does find Chaser, who fail flashes over the wall. That might be a death sentence for him. Doesn't have the tunnel system, can't get out. He's going to go down, has to blow the flash there from Coco. Couldn't get Rip Walk in time. 2 kills going over to MVP, and now Fury getting engaged on it. Just that one bullet with the help of Max with that Ignite is enough to take down Fury, who used both flash and heal. And suddenly MVP have a 2,000 gold lead.
I want to know how Max got back there into the tri-brush in the first place to even start that play.
It is a mystery.
It definitely is. I mean, it was a really well-coordinated play from MVP. Pure was going up into the mid lane to sort of help out with that situation. But why Longzhu would be trying to contest the blue buff this early on in the game? Remember that Ian was already a bit ahead in this lane because of the first blood. And Coco, he has a catalyst. He's not able to do anything right now. Ian at least has magic resist for combat because he went with the cowl early on. So Chaser and Expression going in and trying to make that play was just a bit foolish. They just don't have the combat items ready, but maybe they can take out ADD. He still has Flash, though.
Yeah, he does have Flash, but he gets chain stunned. The Gnar ultimate there now going to get popped up. That was a really
bad Flash.
Really bad Flash by ADD. He is going to go down. That's another kill over to Chaser, who will have all of those 2 kills that Longzhu's been able to pick up.
Watching that, it looked like ADD realized that he should have flashed when Expression flashed so that he wasn't hit by the Gnar ultimate, and then he just panicked and flashed anyway afterwards. Because as soon as you get hit by that Gnar ult and Chaser cuts you off, the flash does absolutely nothing.
I mean, not even just the Gnar ult, but the Gnar ult into the stun, which just provides more time for Chaser to get underneath you.
You just can't flash after that. So ADD a little bit sloppy right here.
Just a bit, but still going to be in a decent spot. The waves shoved really far forward onto that tier 2, which is going to be the biggest concern of his. But we'll take another look at this fight around blue.
Yeah, I just don't know why you would go for this. Ian again with the fast ghost, and they're just sitting there. It had already been warded, so it's a Hemo Plague. I mean, the fail flash, as you said, over the wall. I think
Chaser's flash was worse than ADD's. And we'll see. Okay, so we'll see this. So he just walked up the ramp through River, and then just comes in and bobs Fury. He's 6. He doesn't throw his arrow.
Wow. Well,
I'm gonna count that as an arrow missed by Fury. That goes onto the tally.
Wow. I don't know what was going on right there.
Oh, well, Pure, no way to get out of this one. Here comes Max. TP's going to come through, however, from Coco in the mid lane. Pure is going to get popped. Maha finds the kill. Fury walking forward, has that flurry. Firing off, will find a kill onto Max. Now Beyond has the body slam away, but Coco is there with the chase. Ian, can he do anything in time to save this Gragas' life? It's not going to happen. Ian just sprints straight past him and will equalize kills on the other side of the fight. Chaser goes down, and there's the follow-up from Ian, taking out Fury. All in all, it's going to be a 3 for 2.
I love the way Ian played that, actually. He just totally left Beyond out to dry.
He knew he was
just
dead.
Like ghosted straight past him while Coco was pursuing and came down to help Maha, pick up the kills in the bottom. Let's take a look at how this happened. First off, this is the engage that I thought they'd be going for in this game. Just following up right there with the explosive cast after the Bard ultimate goes down. So the TP right here, both of them are canceled actually, so both players decide not to come into this fight at the end. Now Coco's on his way, did get the jump onto this bottom side, but the curtain call does enough. Ian comes in with the proto belt, gets the Hemo Plague down, and then they just split kills Maha and Ian into the bottom. So even though they were a bit late, and we're going to see another fight right now.
There we are, Maha just way too far forward. That's the Maha that we all know and love.
He probably thought that with the Ashe on a recall that he wasn't going to die right there, but the Rek'Sai doing enough damage with the Karma. I think both AD carries have now underestimated the amount of damage that these supports, a Karma and a Bard, can do in the early game. Previously it was Fury, who I don't blame him not thinking he was going to die in that situation. Having the Bard just wrap around and then just get killed by a curtain call was unlikely.
I just don't understand. Like, Max walked into range of the turret, took aggro, and he didn't use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Probably could have gotten a kill out of that, but now ADD aggressing onto Expression Eye, messes up the pillar. Can't get him on the other side, and Expression will be able to hop out to safety, but you can see this Gnar pickup is just not working out in that 1v1 lane whatsoever. So Expression building towards that Black Cleaver by the look of it, definitely needs to start just orienting himself for these team fights that are just inevitably coming up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think at this point you just have to drop the fact that you're ever going to win the split push versus the Trundle, especially now that you've been pushed out of lane, your turret's down, and that's an easy Rift Herald. I like the priority here. Go after the Rift Herald. You have the wave up to the tier 2 in the top side. Take the Rift Herald instead. That is actually more important to you snowballing this game than a Cloud Drake because you want the Trundle to win this split push 100% of the time. And now you've got until 33 minutes with that Rift Herald buff to do so. Now, Maha's going for an Infinity Edge first here onto Jhin, which is not something that we see very often these days. He isn't going the typical armor penetration build with the Youmu's into the Duskblade onto Jhin. So this is going to scale better into the late game, but it does offer less punch in the mid game. But they don't need it. They already have a lead, so I suppose why not? He's got 3 kills. Why not just go for the more expensive later game build because you've been kick-started into this already.
Yep. In a pretty good spot despite the overstay in that bottom side. Especially still going to get caught by that mid-air. Now transforms back into the mini Gnar. The root will be flashed out, opens up with a curtain call. Not going to be able to land those hits. So you know what? I'll just go ahead and sacrifice those other 2 bullets. Get that free fun on the cooldown. Ian, though, getting engaged on in the mid side. Fury coming in, flashes away from the arrow. The tether's there. He uses the Proto Belt to get out of range. Nicely played by Ian.
Got 2 summoner spells out for that one, though. So did see Chaser's flash used there to try and pick up that kill in the first place. So ADD also getting a summoner spell out of Expression. Just a little bit of a trade across the map right now. Longzhu going for the Cloud Drake. Maha and Max here after taking the Rift Herald, so there will be no defense from MVP.
Oh, there's the cast, but just
why not?
A little too early, but it's all good. Just the Cloud Drake going over to the side of Longzhu.
Yeah, they also are going to actually be able to push this wave up and make sure that it heads back their direction too. Meanwhile, a little bit of farm not going
out of here, though. Chaser's coming in with Coco and Fear in tow. They find Maha. Max goes to the Magical Journey, pops the heal for the increased move speed. TP used by ADD completes the channel. Now Ian arriving on the other side, but Coco is able to rift walk over that wall into the red pit and keep himself safe. Chaser goes back in for the red buff, but that might have been a big mistake. Doesn't have the flash available, and he goes down. It's going to be Beyond picking up the kill on the Gragas. Really questionable turnaround there. Expression now in a bit of a rough spot. Does have Fury coming around the sidelines. Arrows almost up for Fury. Beyond. Body slams away from the tether. Will keep himself safe, and it looks like MVP just going to find that kill and be able to back out safely.
Yeah, Ian just pushing in the mid lane. In the meantime, they're constantly farming in more of these lanes. MVP as compared to Longzhu.
Did they finish this? Oh.
No.
Arrow's going to miss.
ADD is not tanking.
Coco goes back forward. He's going to take a good chunk of damage. ADD is getting hurt, though, but here comes Beyond. Coco will be able to finish off the Trundle, but he is taking an immense amount. The Hema Plague still ticking. Max is able to finish him off with the Cosmic Binding. Now Expression going to be the next one to fall. Not able to arrive with the Mega Gnar form. Bar Ultimate not going to connect. And Longzhu, the rest of them have to scramble. Beyond taking a good chunk of damage, has to peel back, but MVP still coming out on top, finding 2 kills just for that of ADD.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get this mid lane turret too, no problem. Take it out, add to their mounting Goldie. Chaser is way too far forward.
Yeah, gets popped back in by the cask. He's up there trying to get onto Maha. Volley comes through. They actually finish him off. Ian, though, with the Tides of Blood's going to be able to find a double kill. Can he make it a triple kill? Pure has no mana whatsoever. And one more hit should do it. There it is. Ian with the triple kill. That's an effective ace onto the side of Longzhu. Coco comes in with a teleport, but they take a Magical Journey out. He will try to pursue with the Rift Walk. If he gets Cosmic bound up, this could be bad.
Nice.
Nicely played off the Scuttle Crab, and Coco going to have to peel back. Really well played by Max.
Yeah, this game has been great by Max.
Yeah, I mean, this series.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to see the fight at the red buff, which was also rather silly. Coco going to come here. Now, ADD again is mostly built offensively, but you have to respect the fact that there is that Gragas and the Jhin rather still there, able to help engage. So we do see Ian get into that fight rather easily. I'm surprised they kept going after this even after the Bard ult missed.
Well, they get this knockback onto Chaser.
Yeah, I don't know why Chaser tried to re-engage here either. He made a mistake going back for the red buff, and then he made this mistake too, which is you can't walk back in onto this. You just got to see if you can get out of that situation. I wouldn't have tried for the actual kill right there. Maybe he felt he had no choice because he was already knocked back in with the explosive cast. But
I don't know. I mean,
I think the mistake there in the first place was Longzhu even attempting to defend that turret. They needed just to fall back to the tier 2. It was gone, and they weren't keeping track of the Gragas ultimate. So when shouldn't have been a surprise that that was up and that they were under threats of being engaged on after the turret goes down.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yay, we got Maha, but then Ian triple kills the rest of it. Is he going to be in, though? Going to get engaged on Chaser. Will get the pop-up. The Protoball going to be interrupted. Drops that Hemo Plague so he can get that HP back. Comes out of that one. Flashes away from the arrow, and he's going to stay safe. Meanwhile, the Magical Journey comes through from Max and Beyond. The Bard Ultimate not going to connect, though. That's been probably the worst one they've thrown so far. But MVP are still looking to keep up the pressure as Beyond comes from the side. Nice flash away from Coco, or the Rift Walk rather will take him out of that one. Put him on the other side. Curtain Call comes through, just trying to find some damage in. We'll take a good chunk off. Pure Expression gets rooted, and Maha finishes him with the W. Nice pick, very extended chase, but they still come up with a kill.
Maha had the greatest positioning for that Curtain Call, just opening up across the entire length of the team and showing that he was going to be able to hit them even if they wanted to go underneath the safety of their tier 2. So Expression just not able to do much of anything. And again, he's gone for a very aggressive build too. He just has the Black Cleaver right now, and it's just not working out. 0, 3, and 1. Trundle going to be able to split push all day. Now trying to build into an Iceborne Gauntlet just to magnify the amount of damage and trading he's going to be able to do in that lane. And he still's got the 2 rejuvenation beads. Yeah,
It's no.
Who needs a pink ward? God
no
bless.
need to get rid of them. I mean, look at this. They're 19 minutes, just about to be 20 minutes into this game, and MVP currently have an 8.2 thousand gold lead. That is pretty unprecedented for most teams, and that is really going to help turn around that negative gold stat that they have in 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think what's impressed me most about this series from MVP has been that Longzhu came in with a game plan to take away the tools that won them their last best of 3. MVP says, okay, we'll just play the Vladimir instead, that's fine. And then they show this, they bring out the Ashe, they bring out the GP with the Bard, and they say, we've got this long-range engage composition, and Longzhu keeps getting picked off or engaged on 2 screens away. So then, Longzhu comes in and they say, all right, none of that, we're going to take the Ashe this time. They're like, that's fine, we just have Jhin and we still have the Bard, and we're just going to take the Gragas instead so that we can reliably execute these engages, and they've been pulling it off.
Yeah, I mean, the weirdest thing for me for the side of Longzhu was banning the Anivia and giving this Vlad pick over to MVP. It just didn't seem like it was going to work out. Double Bard ultimate comes through on a Pure and Chaser, opening up with a Curtain Call. First shot's going to miss. They find one onto Expression. Third one. And now the fourth onto Chaser. Not a whole lot of damage being dealt. Expression going to be the lowest member. Ian over the wall just pops and rips through the rest of that remaining HP. And now ADD is going to cut off Coco. Still has that Rift Walk, but he is in a really bad spot. Chaser unburrows to get the pop-up on to that Trundle, but the Subjugate comes out, and he's taking a bunch of damage. He's going to get finished off by Maha, and Ian splits back in, finds Coco with the Hemo Plague, but won't be able to finish him out. But 2 kills go over to the side of MVP, and they are going to go straight over to Baron with that jungler dead.
Yeah, Max actually was nearly killed by the Baron after going into the pit, but did escape with his life. Now returning to join the rest of his team. That fight, it shows how far ahead MVP is right now. Ian doing a ridiculous amount of damage.
They're going to try to TP in. Coco comes in above them. Max on the other side. Pierre going to get chunked out. Ian just pushing the rest of Longzhu back. No smite available. You can only assume that this is going over to MVP. There it is, the confirm from Beyond. Now Expression really low. Flash available. Nowhere near that Mega Gnar. He's going to try to have to kite up the river. Looks like he will make it out safely. MVP don't want to overstay. They want to take that Baron, take that gold, back off, and purchase.
Just backing off. Easy Baron. And again, a well-controlled objective from MVP, as you noted. Making sure Chaser is as far away as possible, threatening the engage with the support onto the Kassadin so that it was difficult for Coco to get in from the flank. W, I couldn't see if it actually hit right there, but
no, it didn't.
It looks like it was a little bit too far away after the Rift Walk.
Okay. Ocean Drake is the next one spawned. that just got a glimpse into the pit. And MVP are really well pushed to be able to pick that up after they go for this tier 2 in the bot side.
And you can see the Jhin right now. Maha is so ridiculously ahead of Fury. He's basically a full item ahead at this stage.
3, and fourth's not going to hit, but Chaser gets knocked back in. Still no flash available. Will be able to tunnel out to safety. Chemo Plague was not used, so he will make it out with his life, but barely so. And MVP takes down the tier 2, and they're going to continue the siege moving forward. Fury, of course, going to be a big proponent of their wave clear, not able to walk up. Questions on the sideline, building up that Gnar bar as best as he can by throwing out the boomerang, but still a little ways away from an engage. This turn's about to fall. This would be a little bit foolish, potentially, as he gets chunked out to half HP.
MVP's coordination around these engages is excellent in this series. The way that they zoned off that objective gave no opportunity for defense for Longzhu, and the snowball just keeps building bigger and bigger and bigger. First break of the game for MVP will be taken right now. I mean, just coming around the side with the Trundle, the coordination has been there 100% for them as they use the Jhin just to zone them off and then safely take the turret. Jhin going for Essence Reaver after the Infinity Edge, so he's got a lot of money. Meanwhile, he is a full Infinity Edge up over Fury at this point. That is a huge, huge difference in gold.
Yeah, pretty much insurmountable at this point from Longzhu unless they can do some kind of miraculous Hail Mary play, but it just does not seem at all likely. And so far the count, in case you guys are wondering, Fury is 1 for 6 on his arrows.
Basically the exact opposite.
Yep. Coco gonna get slowed out, just pump out a little bit of damage onto ADD, but he's a Trundle. It's gonna be pretty okay to just stick around, let those minions die around him. Finally got rid of both of those rejuves. He actually went for the Raptor Cloak.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Which means he's either building Zerat Portal or Ohm Wrecker.
I think we can take a guess as to which one it is.
Well,
it's obviously the Ohm Wrecker. Ohm Wrecker into Bard Ultimate.
We haven't seen Zerat Portal really ever since the nerfs to it, where it is 5 hits now instead of actually having HP.
Oh, Fury gets knocked in with the cast, takes 1 bullet. They have to body block the rest of them, and it draws out the heal in the end. Here will block that 4th and final shot, but that sends him packing back to the fountain. A summoner spell down on that Ashe now.
Yeah, so he actually did end up turning one of the rejuvenation beads into something, one of the extra ones at least. And of course, with the Trundle split pushing, with the amount of power that he has, remember
That's
that
so annoying.
The Rift Herald is still ticking.
Yeah, he still has that buff for like another 8 minutes. And Ian is just Mr. Never Die in this game so far. 9-0 and 4. Very tanky with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter with the Spirit Visage. So in a very good spot. Longzhu are just struggling to find anything that they can do outside of their base.
I do think it's interesting that Fury went for the Essence Reaver first in this game because he needed a faster Hurricane because of the low wave clear on Gnar and Kassadin. I think that's part of the reason why they find themselves in this situation now. We talked a little bit about the Warhammer first, going back to the 2 longswords, but the other opportunity you have, and what we saw actually Maha go last game, was Berserker's Greaves first on Ashe. So you can take Berserker's Greaves, then build into...
Oh my god.
Jeez.
He wasn't even in range for that. He still flashed.
I think he's a little scared now, given the what's happened to him this game.
I guess I can't blame him. That would give me PTSD as well, but...
You were wrong, Achilles. It's a Ohm Wrecker. When was the last time you saw him?
Are you kidding me? Hot damn. Oh, baby.
Yeah, he had a Kindle Gem. I didn't.
We are just going.
I actually forgot that Ohm Wrecker built out of Kindle Gem because I haven't seen it in so long.
ADD is just going full screw it mode right now. They can just turn off towers for days.
Well, for 3 seconds.
Bard Ultimate plus.
That's true. It is an interesting combination, that's for sure.
Man, where's Skara? He's got to be so excited. I know he's a big fan of the Ohm Wrecker.
I mean, you're almost never ahead enough to actually be able to justify building this item, but Longzhu will no longer be able to kite under the turrets. Yeah. All right, ADD. Show him the Ohm Wrecker. Let's go.
Ohm Wreck your face off. He's splitting up into that bottom side, while the rest of MVP just pushes in to finish off this turret in the mid. See, they don't need to turn off the turrets. They can just kill them.
Well, this is boring now. There aren't very many turrets left. He's got to use it before he dies.
He's got 3 turrets that he can burn this on, but inhibitor goes down in mid.
He has to use it, otherwise I'm going to be so sad.
Yeah, it's a waste of an item slot. Oh, Ballard ultimate finds Fury. ADD walking up, gets a big chunk into him, and Fury is going to go down. Maha there to confirm the kill. Omewrecker used onto the top Nexus turret. He gets both of them turned off by the look of it.
Yep.
And Chaser has to retreat into the fountain, but Ian just flashes forward, finishes him off. And this is MVP pushing on the Nexus turrets. 3:30 minutes, taking down Longzhu in a 2-0, 18-7, a massive gold lead, 16.9 thousand. They completely dismantle Longzhu, and MVP are looking so very strong. Coco will be able to finish off ADD in the end, but it doesn't matter. It's too little, too late, Coco. Your Kassadin just didn't do a whole lot. The Nexus will fall, and MVP are going to keep moving up the standings. A great start to round 2 for these guys.
Well, they've been hot for a while, Achilleos. I mean, now they've won 4 out of their last 5 best of 3, and all four of their wins have been 2-0.
All right,
so that's impressive. They've beaten Jin Air, CJ, Longzhu twice now. Yes, some of these teams are into the middle or the bottom of the standings, but these wins have been very convincing.
Yeah.
So another one on the board for MVP, and this is what they look like when they have a good early game.
Yeah.
Last time it took them a few minutes, past 20 minutes to really start to get rolling, close the gold gap that Longzhu had, and then they won with strong shot calling. This game, they were ahead early, and they just crushed Longzhu with a snowball in just rapid fashion. Convincing, efficient, really nice play from MVP.
Yeah, and Maha, again, coming into game 2, had that one moment where he got caught out. Bot thought that he was safe because of the recall from Fury, and then just got collapsed on by Pure and Chaser. But still, aside from that, a really fantastic game on the Jin. The curtain call shots constantly landing, just drawing out skill shots from people that weren't even in range of those bullets. And overall, just a really strong performance from him. Night and day for both of these AD carries. Fury, the one that was trying to 1v9 last week, completely fumbling in this game, and now Maha just coming out, playing so well with the team, and the cohesion is just going through the roof in this.
Yeah, I agree with your point. The cohesion was really what we should be talking about, because that was impressive. MVP not only showed the cohesion with one composition, but so often with new teams, I see them be able to do it with one composition, and as soon as a couple key bans or the takeaway of the Ashe comes out, they only know how to do things in a certain order. MVP doesn't even miss a beat here.
Yeah.
They just say, okay, we'll do this with Jin and Gragas instead. We will do what the Ashe was doing with the Bard ult, with Jin and Gragas. So they know how to play. This just shows they have a deep knowledge as a team of how to play around each other, and there are different permutations of this composition that they can use.
All right, well, your MVP for game 2 is Ian joining Maha there. That's his second MVP vote. 84% kill contribution, didn't die a single time, and had 10 kills rather, on the board for himself. This is phenomenal play.
This is also just incredibly poor decision-making from Longzhu. First off, when they tried the invade, and then MVP just said, okay, why don't you just come down here, Ian, with your ghosts, and we'll kill them. They have a level 1 Kassadin. And then they were trying to contest a blue buff, 3v3 with a Kassadin that has Catalyst, and the vision was already there. Beyond gets a double body slam into a barrel, and if you start like that early in the game, you're just going to lose in the enemy jungle. So, and they just didn't have the items. The Catalyst Kassadin is not going to do anything.
It was just a series of questionable things from the side of Longzhu. I mean, just kicking things off with the invade from Fury, and Pure giving up that kill was just really bad. But Max as well didn't get MVP tonight, but definitely a fairly unsung hero. We've talked about him a little bit throughout this series tonight so far, but the Bard ultimates really only missed one. That was super crucial, but overall, I mean, catching Fury here, allowing them to open up, get this Gragas barrel. This is exactly what we were talking about in the Champ Select. That sequence of CC, just get rid of that squishy AD carry, and there it is, the Omewrecker.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ADD. ADD actually deserves MVP just because of that.
Achilles, I don't actually know if I've ever seen an Omewrecker in Korean competitive play before.
I don't know if we've seen one anywhere in a very long time.
I'm sure in a
very
long time.
Yeah, is my.
I'm sure it's happened, but I'm just trying to recall if I've ever seen one in in a Korean game before, and
I don't know.
think that I have.
I mean, even like SK Telecom, when they beat the living crap out of MVP in round 1, didn't build any trollish items like that. They didn't even build something like a Zerat portal, no ohm records. They kept it very clean and surgical. MVP having fun. I mean, a triple rejuve bead start into a TMF.
Look, I like the triple rejuve
and then
I thought that was good.
Oh, no, I thought it was good too, but I'm just saying, like, it's very unorthodox bringing this out against Longzhu. They felt comfortable and confident to do so, and really paid off.
Yeah. Well, fun games to watch tonight for sure. It was really a pleasure to watch MVP's team fighting.
Yeah, I mean, we have to really look forward to more from this team. This squad is looking so good as they move forward. I think their next match is going to be on Friday. They go up against CJ Entis, and at this point, unless CJ has made some really big strides to get better, I think MVP is just going to completely dismantle them.
Yeah, interesting story too, because Max was Mad Life's substitute player. So.
Yeah, it's the apprentice overtaking the master. So that would definitely be a good one to check out. Of course, coming up tomorrow night, we do have Samsung versus ESC. ESC coming off of that win against SK Telecom, the only team SK Telecom has been unable to defeat so far in LCK. So that actually has a lot of implications if ESC can continue this trend, because Samsung, of course, were dipping down a little bit by the end of that first split. And then Jinair versus CJ Entis. Both of those teams a little bit wonky. Jinair still have a strong team. Trace has kind of been the odd man out there, so we'll see how he performs
tomorrow. Not his meta,
tomorrow.
maybe.
Yeah, definitely not his meta. The Gangplank, ADD can do it. Trace apparently cannot.
I was impressed that ADD could do it. So
yep.
I was skeptical about the GP. So now at least I have a better feeling as to why some of these teams are picking him.
Very true. But wonderful performance by MVP to end the night. Longzhu, unfortunately, still struggling. We'll see if they can improve as we move through the remainder of round 2. That's going to close it out for myself and Monte Cristo for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with those games that we mentioned earlier. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you then.